Are they in?
They are in, and as always, when we bring on Buckeye legends to the show, it's brought to you by Gridiron Guys. Looking for a local roofer you can trust? Family-owned since 2003, the Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. We exemplify quality work practices and are a valued resource for homeowners and offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection. And guys, I'm honored.
You gotta wait for me. You gotta wait.
I know. I forget you do the gridiron, grid.
Gridiron guys. You gotta give me a moment to do my jingle.
My bad.
Out loud.
Yeah,
Well, listen, when we have guests like Keith Byars and Dennis Hopson, it's hard to wait. And we are honored to be joined by the two Buckeye legends now. What's up, Keith? What's up, Dennis? Thanks for joining the Ultimate
guys.
Team Sports
There they
Show.
go. Wow, look at that ring.
How you guys doing?
Hey, KB, I reached into the grab bag on you, baby.
See, you surprised me with Dennis. I know I'm going to see him in a couple of days, but that's okay.
We
That's
gotta
good.
talk about
Good.
that
That's a
ring.
surprise.
Look at that ring.
It was going to be you and Chris against your boy, but like, yeah. Not this time.
Not this time. Not this time.
How you doing, my friend?
Wow.
Both of you guys, how y'all doing?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing great. You know, that's why I'm glad we're doing it now, because after I get off this interview, I got some guys up on the golf course.
Oh, yeah, I know you got,
So
18
I'm going to play
36
golf.
for you. I appreciate you taking the time in here. And then, obviously, Dennis, who's the head coach at Loras University in Toledo, is taking a moment out of his time. But, KB, you know, the guys here whet the appetite a long time ago about this game, right? They're stunned that two top 10 NBA draft choices lost to Ohio State football players. They want to know how in the heck this even went down.
Well, you know, like the story goes, right? It's not just a story; it's the truth. We used to always laugh and joke with each other in school. We would always come back and say, "You guys play basketball. We can play your sport. We don't play football because we're athletes. You guys are basketball players, even though we know we're all athletes." So, and so that's how it all got started. You know, we all came back, you know, playing basketball some way, shape, or form, you know, growing up, you know, in the neighborhoods that we grew up in. And so basketball was probably our first sport to play, because that was all it takes is one ball and, you know, 5 guys or however many guys you're playing, whether you're playing 5-on-5, 3-on-3, 1-on-1, 21, whatever the game is, we all grew up playing basketball.
Hey, KB,
and we all have an affinity for it.
KB, tell them, because this is pre-ESPN and the internet and everything else. So you went to what high school, and how historic is that high school in Dayton?
Well, I mean, I went to Dayton Roth High School. You know, we won 3 state championships in our, you know, really not long existence. We opened in the late 50s, and I was the last graduating class in 1982. So shout out to our 40th year anniversary. And my junior and senior year in high school in 1981 and 82, we were back-to-back state champions. And then in 2020, we had just got inducted into the Ohio Basketball Hall of Fame, you know, so that was a great honor. So to be a part of those teams and being a vital role at that high school, we used to get at it, and it was our head coach was Mike Haley. You know, we played 94 feet of one-on-one basketball. So we played an up-tempo brand of basketball. So that's how we was able to negate some of you guys' height. You got a 7-footer. What is Dennis? 6'6", 6'7". You know, we got it. The only way you can beat that is with speed. Or, you know, well, you don't necessarily beat it. To slow it down is with speed. And that was one of the keys to the game.
So let's bring it full second and Hop, jump in here. So Keith, set it up. Tell us how we got from the study table to the argument to Jesse Owens wreck where we played this game.
Well, yeah, it started at the study table. It carried over into lunchtime in the cafeteria. And, you know, during the winter times, we don't have a training table. So we were at dinner, but that one day at lunchtime, Brad was just talking mad crazy, you know, to me, to Pepper, going off. And, you know, Brad is 7'1". And, you know, when he gets to talking and he's standing up, everybody's going to notice him in the cafeteria. Not only do they notice him, Brad gets up and stands on the chair and makes an announcement. Tonight, Jesse Owens, we're going to put these football players in their place. We're going to spank them for once and for all. And it was like, oh, man, we were fired up. We couldn't wait to play y'all that night.
So
we were fired up.
Tell them who was on the team, Keith, and then I'm coming to Hop. Who was on the team?
We have myself. You know, on our team, we have me, Pepper Johnson, William Roberts, Thad Jemison, Chris Carter. I mean, we were loaded, you know, with talent. But a quick little sidebar, anytime during my 4 years at Ohio State, any pickup basketball game I played, whenever I had Pepper Johnson, no matter who the other three was, we were undefeated. So when Pepper was playing, I was playing. We wasn't going to put our streak on the line to, you know, let y'all put an L in our column. As long as me and Pepper played together, we always won no matter who we played. So going against y'all was a formidable, you know, opponent, no doubt. You know, we're going to come to the game at St. John Arena and cheer you guys on. So now to get an opportunity to be on the same court and play with you guys, that was a challenge. You know, we look forward. That was our time to be basketball players.
So how jumping this thing, because you and I just thought we were going to dust these guys off. It was going to be no contest. This was going to be a quick, easy zip, snap, and drop. We walk over there, Hop. What kind of crowd do we have, Hop?
We had a major crowd, but I'm going to back up a little bit because, hey, Keith, I don't know that we lost. I don't know. I mean, my memory is bad, so I can't actually say we lost or won, but I'm going to go.
I can give you the score.
Because, yeah, you got a great memory.
50 to 44.
You got a great memory.
50 to 44. We would say, call your own fouls. 50 to 44. I mean, we would have fouled out if we would have put a referee in the game. But it wasn't that game. You know, we don't play like that. We just play. You make a call, check ball, go to the top of the key, and play. So that's what we did. It was old school.
You forgot the side bet. The side bet was $25 a man. And $25 back in the 80s was like $500.
A lot of money.
Because we didn't have
Absolutely.
money. Ohio State didn't give you nothing. You couldn't even get a meal.
That was a lot of Subway sandwiches.
Listen.
I love the Keith remembers the exact
I know.
score.
It's amazing that Keith remembers this score.
I can't forget it, 50 to 44. Because we said, you know, usually a game like that, you go to 11 by 1. Or you go to 24 by 2. We're like, no, we need some cushion. These guys, you know, let's make it worth the while. We're going to go to first team to 50. And we end up winning 50 to 44. I could never, ever forget that. It's locked in here.
Well,
never going to forget.
I'll say this. How long did it take us to realize that we were in a dogfight that we didn't expect to be in?
It didn't take long because of the physicality. You guys are too physical. Like you said, Keith, with Pepper Johnson out there, yourself, and all the other guys, former basketball high school players, and as physical you guys were, hey, man, it didn't take long.
Right. So we sat in this thing. And I just tell you that after a couple trips up and down, this was going to be harder than I thought it was going to be, right? And so to G jumping here, because G really wants to know how you got 2 top 10 picks. So let's talk about it. I go number 9 in the 86 draft. Overall number 9. Hop goes number 3 in the 87 draft, right? So there, in totality, there are 10 players in this entire world taken before us. We should have been able to dispose of them. And what I found out was, that's why I referred to the internet. I only thought basketball was really played in Cleveland. I didn't respect nobody in Columbus or Dayton or Cincinnati or nothing like that. At Middletown, and all I came to find out was, man, they can play.
Yeah, they're ballers.
They're ballers.
Who was the best player on the football team? Do you think?
Keith, go ahead and answer the question.
Who's the best player on the football team? Best basketball player on the football team?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, who could have been is there anybody could have been an NBA player?
One of the players who played in that team. No, probably Doug Smith. His nickname was Momo.
Oh, yo, Momo.
Doug was from Atlanta. Yep. He was from Georgia. He was player of the year in football and basketball in Atlanta.
Wow.
You know, the year he came out of high school. I mean, he had range, he had 3-point range. He could drive the ball, he could dribble the whole 9 yards. So he probably had the best, you know, basketball resume coming in. Chris Carter was probably a close second. You know, those were probably, you know, as far as basketball players. You know, I'll probably put myself somewhere, you know, around about 4th or 5th, You know, I always describe my basketball game was Charles Barkley without the leaping ability. You know, I was physical. I could go coast to coast. You know, I could guard the big man. You know, because I caught a couple of Brad's sharp elbows. You know, but that's all right. I'm going to put my elbow right back in his lower back. You know, he's not going to be 7'1" by the end of the night. He's going to be a little shorter. You know, so that was cool. You know, and like I can't complain. Brad hits me with elbow, I'm going to complain. Oh, man, you caught me in the eye. I refuse to complain. No, it's just not one of my options.
you know, Keith, I'll tell you this. You know, people be making – I said this a couple days ago. I said, man, people always talk about, you know, football players and Myles Garrett, and they're just like, oh, Myles Garrett, oh, he can dunk. And I'd be telling them, I used to play high school. I played basketball at Camp McKinley, and I played football too. Now, here's the thing. I used to tell them there's all kind of football players. You just don't know it. There's all kind of football players that get buckets every single day. I mean, when you talk about explosiveness, when you talk about guys that can jump, and the physicality helps you out a little bit too. Like sometimes you're a football player, you can muddy it up a little bit. I got to hold Brad, hold foul, hold ball, hold ball, hold ball, hold ball. Take that at the time.
You're right. But let me say this. One thing that Brad used to ask me to talk about my high school, a player that I played against, you and Dennis played against him too at Ohio State, was from Iowa, Greg Stokes. Yeah. When Greg was a senior in high school, you know, we played them in the regional finals to see who goes to the state. You know, Greg gave us the business. He had a triple-double on us. He had 35 points, 25 rebounds, and 12 block shots. You know, but we won the game.
We won the game anyway.
We won the game.
Wow.
Yeah, we won the game. It was a heck of a game, a hard fought. But I was used to growing up against, you know, playing against top-tier talent. You know, in high school, in the pickup games in Dayton, you know, we had arguably the greatest high school player to ever play in Ohio, and you know that would be Dwight Anderson. God rest his soul. He died last year. You know, he went to University. Dwight Anderson was just a freak. You know, he went to Kentucky. His nickname was the Blur. One of the and he's come from our high school, so he used to come back and give us the business, and you know that was good training. You know, for us as teenagers to play against talent like that.
Hey, Hop, I got a question for you, and then I want Brad and KB to answer it as well. Was there ever a point in the game where you thought it was going to get real physical and maybe hands would be thrown?
At the beginning of the game, you knew it was physical. I mean, you're dealing with some big time players, and you know, it's one thing when it comes to being a football player. You know, they're coming with the ruggedness, the physicality, and actually, I think Brad may have told you guys about this before, but I mean, our coaches, they found out about it, and they were very, very super disappointed in us going out there competing in this game because we're trying to stay healthy, so we're able to give something to our basketball program, and that was a way for us to get hurt. So thank God nobody got hurt, but to answer that question, right at the very start, you already knew it was. I mean, you're looking at KB Pepper, you know, 6'4", 6'5", you know, 220, 25 pounds. So these guys were, they're coming with everything.
Brad?
So I would tell you, I don't remember it like that. I remember this. I remember trying to avoid being embarrassed, right, Keith, because there was a big crowd there. We had a lot of girls there.
Yes, a lot of girls.
A lot of girls there. A lot of girls there. And then Keith, after I stood on that chair talking crazy, I was like, hold on. Because remember, I'm from Cleveland, they're from Dayton. Yeah. Right? Like,
You thought you had the edge.
This cannot go down.
But it was never close to anybody.
No, because I tell you what, the group here, we're all friends.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up at a great time. It wasn't nobody hating on one another. We all pulling for one another, right? We go to their football games on Saturday. They come to our game. They sitting in the first row. They be the first one to tell you when you messing up. Yeah, you messing up out here, right? But they tell you in a friendly game because they're your friends, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so we're still friends to this day. But I would just tell you this: I learned one thing. They cheated me in Hop because they cheated us from this standpoint, not in the game. Oh. They could have pulled the Deion double play.
Yeah.
They could have been with us in the wintertime.
Yeah, really. Where were they? Where was that?
They could have been with us.
And not many of you guys could have been out there.
No, but I'm saying here,
That's
we
right.
would have had just the ones he talked about right there, right?
Yeah.
Or we could have run through the 10 because they were tough.
Yeah, I believe
they were tough.
Yeah.
By the way, couldn't Brad have played football? He could have been a specialist to block kicks and punts.
Nah, man, I'm holding line
Blocking
sign.
field goals.
I'm just holding line sign, Keith. I'm just a third down sign. That's all I'm doing.
Oh my God, you could have blocked some kicks.
He would have got some low kicks. But you talk about us fighting or throwing hands. Until you just asked that question, that's the first time it ever entered my mind. Never once it was going to get to that point of being that physical where guys going to get upset and want to start throwing hands and fighting. Because if you did fight, then what?
Right.
Well, we can see each other. You ain't going nowhere. So what you gonna fight about?
Buckeye love.
You're gonna see my bro. Yeah, and then you're gonna be what? Give me the stink eye. We ain't got nothing to fight about. We having too good a time
to
fight. We got we respect each other too much to fight.
I'm still shocked, KB. You remember the score? I remember the result. I remember the score.
Wait, he's got a tattoo. He didn't tell everybody. He's got a tattoo that says 50-44.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why he
And I
remembers
told
the score.
you, Chris Carter, don't forget, I told you when he did hold the sports commission dinner, Chris was like, I got you. That was 30-some-odd years ago. You still on that?
McNuggets has a question for you guys. Go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, Keith, this is mostly for you here. We had Leroy on earlier this week, and he told us about some of your guys' legendary golf games. Let's pull up the tag board here, Steve. We have a picture of you and Leroy on the golf course. What's the truth? Can Leroy actually play golf, or is it all talk, no swing?
No, Leroy's a golfer. He can play. We played 10 times. Leroy's gonna probably beat me 6 to 7 times. In a match of golf. But that picture right there, that was our annual Ohio State Michigan bet. And whoever won the game, you got to have that head cover in your bag for a year. And needless to say, he had to ride around with that Michigan bag with the house with Brutus Buckeye, in his golf bag. But we've been making them for so long that we don't even bet anymore. But as a quick side State Michigan deal, I was in Michigan, Grand Rapids, about 3 weeks ago, tournament, and I'm sitting there getting some breakfast, and you know that feeling you get when somebody shoots you. And you just happen to turn this look in that direction, and who it is? It was Jim Harbaugh.
Man.
He had this smile on his face, and I turned and looked, and he said, "Hi, Keith." I said, "Hey, Jim," and I finished getting my bacon and eggs and went over here and sat down. I'm like, "Geez." He just hates to lose to those guys.
I know, right?
And then he came over to my table for some small talk, and I gave him a little small talk, being respectful. But I'm like, "Jim, you don't like me. I don't like you. Why are we doing this? Why?" But only because we lost the game. But if Ohio State would have won that game last year, I would have been the invisible man. Jim would have never looked in my direction.
Yeah,
but that's
right.
okay. And I was telling all those Michigan guys, November's coming. November is coming. They're like, "Well, oh, Keith, just let us enjoy it now." I said, "I'm not peeing in your Cheerios. Enjoy it." But you remember this. Your guys changed your nickname. You're no longer the Michigan Wolverines. I call you the Michigan Cicadas. You show up about every 10, 12 years, make some noise, and you go away again. So I had a ball with those guys. That's what they're the Michigan Cicadas.
I love it. We need to get on that. Listen, Keith and Hop, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
it's great
guys.
to see you guys and great to hear the old stories.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
50-44.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
All right,
The whole
Keith.
game.
You'll get your tattoo now, baby. Go ahead. It's all right.
50-44. It's a number he'll never forget. Now it's a number that Brad will never forget. It's great. It has to be really fun for you to see those guys and talk about all this.
Well, I mean, we bumping each other all the time. I mean, this is really the old school Ohio State guys. I mean, it's really a fraternity, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to be friends to the day we leave this earth.
Sure.
Right. And you can call and pick up the phone and anything. It's any charity event. They're like, where I got to be, who I got to be with.
Right.
And they're coming just on the strength of that friendship that was established in the mid '80s, right?
Yeah.
And so they're just two good guys. Hop is 15 years a collegiate coach now.
Wow.
So he's doing this thing, trying to break back into Division I. But the head coach at Lourdes University and the NAIA school in Toledo doing well. And it's just good to see them. And Keith has always been first class. Chris Carter's been first class. Pepper John first class. They're just first class people.